Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Sach Pran Kaur Haridas Prabhuji to enlighten us on the topic Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila 16.94 onwards. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Before handovering the call to Prabhuji, I would like to give a small introduction about the Prabhuji. Sach Pran Kaur Haridas Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Prabhuji have joined ISKCON in 1998 when he was doing his bachelor's in engineering in India. Prabhuji have received first initiation in 2014 and second initiation in 2020. Prabhuji academically he have finished his bachelor's in chemical engineering from BITS Pilani. And Prabhuji have completed Bhakti Shastri. Currently, he is enrolled for the Bhakti Vaibhav and serving one Bhakti Vriksha currently in Atlanta. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for giving your very valuable time and association to us. I would like to hand over the call to Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Radharani Mataji. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Mataji, is my audio clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for joining today's session on Chaitanya Charitamrita. I would like to start by thanking Preeti Vilasini Mataji for giving me an opportunity to speak some Harikatha and purify myself. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I'll start with offering my respectful obeisances to my Guru Maharaj, to Srila Prabhupada, to our Acharyas, and to all the Vaishnavas. Also, my sincere prostrated obeisances at the lotus feet of all the devotees who have joined this session. Personally, I have no knowledge. I have no devotion, but whatever I'm presenting today or whatever I'm speaking today is simply based on what I've heard from my superiors. We'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers, invoking auspicious blessings of the Lord and of the devotees. Om Agnanatimrandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swakpadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitamtam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpataru Vyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kalonaste Vanaste Vakatiranyada Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So today we will discuss Chaitanya Charitamrita, verse 94 of chapter 16 of Antya Leela. Let me share the verse quickly. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda So we're reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, chapter 16, verse 94. E dravye eta swada kaha haite aila Krishnera adaramrita ite sancharila. This beautiful verse, translation by His Divine Grace, Abhay Channa Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered, where has such a taste in this prasadam come from? Certainly, it is due to its having been touched by the nectar of Krishna's lips. Once again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered, where has such a taste in this prasadam come from? Certainly, it is due to its having been touched by the nectar of Krishna's lips. So this is a beautiful verse where Mahaprabhu is glorifying the greatness, the sweetness of the Mahaprasadam. Just as Krishna is Ananta, unlimited, similarly, Lord Krishna also bestows his mercy on his devotees in unlimited ways. The prasadam food that we honor is just one of the forms of Lord's mercy. The garland that is offered to Lord Krishna, the clothes, the garments that are offered to the deities, the ornaments that are offered to the deities, the scented oils that we offer to the deities, all of these are Mahaprasadam. And these are just some of the ways through which Krishna bestows his mercy upon the living entities. And Krishna, it is explained, that is constantly showering his mercy. Like how rain continuously pours when there is a cyclone or hurricane, it's a continuous rain. Like that, Krishna is also showering his mercy on the living entities continuously. And we just need a patra, a container to receive it. But unfortunately, it is explained, our acharyas explain that we're actually holding an umbrella. We are holding an umbrella on our head. And because of that umbrella, we are not able to receive the mercy, the rain of mercy that Krishna is showering on us. So for us to be able to receive the mercy of Krishna, we need to have faith. We need to have faith in Krishna, Shastras, Guru, the Vaishnavas. It's very important. Faith is very important. And even in Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, Srila Prabhupada says that a little faith is needed. And even the 9 stages of bhakti also start with Shraddha. Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajana, Kriya. So Shraddha, the faith is very, very important. And to gain faith, what do we need? We need pious credits. We have to be pious. So every day before we honor Prasadam, we sing Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama Brahmane Vaishnave, Svalpa Punya Vatan Rajan, Vishwaso Naiva Jayate. What does this prayer say? This prayer says, Vishwas, the faith in Mahaprasad, the faith in Govinda, Lord Krishna, the faith in Nam, holy name, and the faith in Vaishnavas. Faith in all of these, it is not developed. Vishwaso na eva jayate. It is not developed in those, in whom does it not develop? It says Svalpa Punya, who have very little pious credits. So we see various devotees, some devotees are very attached to Mahaprasadam, very attached to the deities, very attached to their bhajan, very attached to chanting, very attached to reading Bhagavatam, very attached to serving Vaishnavas. And some devotees we see, they're not that much attached. The faith in the potency of the process itself is not manifested in their hearts. And why? It is because they do not have pious credits. They do not have enough pious credits. So we all have to, so these rules and regulations that we have, the do's and don'ts, that help us in developing the faith, strengthening our faith, and progressing spiritually. So Krishna's Mahaprasad, the mercy, comes in various ways. We just have to be ready to receive the mercy. And one of the ways in which Krishna's mercy comes is in the form of great devotees, in the form of acharyas, through whom we learn, through whom we understand how to act, through whom we understand the etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette, through whom we understand how to deal with Vaishnavas, how to do bhajan. So Krishna's mercy comes through these great Vaishnavas and great acharyas. So, and these, by studying these lives of these acharyas, we will be able to make progress in our spiritual life. So today, being the auspicious appearance day of Sri Janava Devi, Srimati Janava Devi, I thought I will speak a few words in her glorification and purify myself. Mataji, is my screen still visible?
No,
Right now, no, Prabhuji.
Okay, yeah, I think the verse is over, so I will stop sharing. So I was mentioning earlier, Krishna, he is very merciful. He's Karuna Sindhu. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. He is Karuna Sindhu, ocean of mercy. But we hear from the scriptures that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even more merciful. That is why he is Adbhuta Vadanya, Adbhuta Audarya, Adbhuta Karunya. And why? Hare Krishna, I'm hearing some echo. Okay. So why is Mahaprabhu merciful, more merciful than Krishna? It is because Mahaprabhu is a combination of Krishna and Radharani. So that is why Mahaprabhu is merciful, because Radharani is in his heart. So, so that is why Mahaprabhu is merciful. So from this we understand that the Ladini Shakti of Krishna, which is Srimati Radharani, is more merciful than Krishna himself. But in Gaura Lila, what do we understand? We understand that Nityananda Prabhu is more merciful than Gauranga Mahaprabhu. How? One of the ways in which we understand that is the liberation of Jagai and Madai, the deliverance of Jagai and Madai. Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually wanted to kill Jagai and Madai because they have hurt Nityananda Prabhu. But what did Nityananda Prabhu do? Nityananda Prabhu protected them. And Nityananda Prabhu blessed them and made them into devotees. So Nityananda Prabhu is more merciful than Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Nityananda Prabhu also has an internal potency, Ladini Shakti. And this Ladini Shakti or internal potency of Nityananda Prabhu, our Acharyas explain, is Srimati Jahnavi Devi. And our Acharyas explain that Srimati Jahnavi Devi is more merciful than Nityananda Prabhu. And she was an Acharya, she's a great devotee, and full of all good qualities. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in his famous bhajan, Gaurangera Dutipada, he says, Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Korimane Sejai Brajendra Sutapas. He says, Gaurangera Sangigane, the associates of Lord Gauranga, Nitya Siddha Korimane, one who understands that they are Nitya Siddha, they are eternally liberated. Sejai Brajendra Sutapas, they will be able to go to Brajendra Sutta. And who is Brajendra Sutta? The son of King of Raja is Krishna. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying that anyone who understands that the associates of Lord Chaitanya or Nitya Siddha or eternally liberated, then such a person becomes eligible to go to Goloka Vrindavan, where Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna are performing eternal pastimes. So today, being the auspicious occasion of Janava Devi's appearance, I will take this opportunity to briefly meditate on her life and her glories and purify myself. So in Bhakti Ratnakar, Srila Narahari Chakravarti glorifies Janava Devi. He says, Nityananda Priyam Prema Bhakti Ratna Pradayinim Jahnava Ishwarim Vande Tapatraya Nivaranam. He says, Nityananda Priyam, Jahnavi Ishwari. Jahnavi Devi's another name is Jahnavi Ishwari also, Goddess Jahnavi, Mother Jahnavi. So Jahnavi Devi is Nityananda Priyam. She is very dear to Lord Nityananda. And then Prema Bhakti Ratna Pradayinim. And what does she do? She is giving Prema Bhakti Ratna, the topmost jewel, the topmost Ratna that can be found in all existence is Prema Bhakti. She is Prema Bhakti Pradayinim. She is bestowing, she is giving the most topmost jewel, Prema Bhakti of Shri Krishna. And then Tapatraya Nivaranam. She eradicates Tapatraya. Just by simply remembering her, by simply glorifying her, by simply praying to her, by simply offering obeisances to her, she eradicates Tapatraya. Tapatraya are the three kinds of miseries that we all know: Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika. So she eradicates all of these. So we can blissfully perform our bhajan. So we know Nityananda Prabhu had two wives, Janava and Vasudha. And these two, Janava and Vasudha, are actually sisters. So there is not much information available about Janava and Vasudha in the scriptures prior to the age around which they were marriageable. Up until the marriageable age, not much information is available in the scriptures. And the scriptures also explain that Jahnavi Devi and Vasudha, they're actually Revati and Varuni, who are the wives of Shri Balaram in Krishna Leela. So Mother Revati comes as Janava Devi, and then Mother Varuni comes as Vasudha in Chaitanya Leela. And it is also explained in Gauraganedesha Deepika that Janava Devi is actually Ananga Manjari, who is the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. And both Vasudha and Jahnavi Devi are daughters of Suryadas. It is explained that Suryadas is as effulgent as the sun. And this same Suryadas was originally Kakudman, King Kakudman in the Satyayuga, who was the father of Revati in the previous life in Krishna Leela. So in Goloka Vrindavan, this is very beautiful. In Goloka Vrindavan, as Ananga Manjari, she has three important services. So the first service that is explained by our acharyas is when our Rupa Manjari puts garlands around Radha and Krishna, Ananga Manjari puts sandalwood paste with camphor for Radha and Krishna. That's her first service. And second service is Ananga Manjari. This is very beautiful. Ananga Manjari, she actually stands guard at the entrance of the place where Radha and Krishna are resting. And she guards that place, making sure no monkeys or nobody, no Gopa or somebody come and disturb Radha and Krishna. And if she sees a monkey or somebody coming to disturb, then she signals other manjaris to take care of this monkey or to swish away this monkey. So that way she does. This is the second important service that she does. And the third important service that she does is something very dear. So whenever any jiva reaches, after practicing bhakti in this material world, after purifying oneself of all the anarthas, eventually when they go back to the spiritual world, at that time, the jiva, our acharyas explain that the Jiva is first received by Ananga Manjari. She receives us at the entrance of the spiritual world. And what does she do? She takes the Jiva, shows the residence of the Jiva, where the Jiva will continue to stay from then onwards. And then she will also introduce the Jiva to other Manjaris and other Gopis. And then finally, she also gives them an eternal service, a service that the Jiva will perform to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna eternally in Goloka Vrindavan. So in Gauralila, Ananga Manjari expanded herself as Janava Devi and Vasudha. Their father was Suryadas and mother was Bhadravati. And they lived in a village named Shaligram, which is very close to Navadvip. And this Suryadas, he's very pious, and he was also given a title as Sarakela. And this title was given to him because he was the treasurer for the local king. And because of this, he was given the title Sarakela. And Suryadas also had 5 brothers. One of them is the famous Gauridas Pandit, who has the Gaurnitai, self-manifested Gaurnitai deities, the beautiful Gaurnitai deities in Ambika Kalna. And Gauridas Pandit is very exalted devotee of Lord. And he actually, originally he was in Shaligram, but it is explained that later he moved to Ambika Kalna. That's when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu visited him, and they gave him the deities on themselves, the manifested deities of themselves. So once Nityananda Prabhu was visiting Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during Chaturmas at Jagannath Puri. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he welcomed Nityananda Prabhu and he asked Nitai to become a Grihastha. We know Nitai is an Avadut. He is above the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surprised him by asking him to become a Grihastha. And Nityananda Prabhu was surprised. So he tried to inquire, why, oh my Lord, why are you asking me to become a Grihastha? And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's argument was that I am a sannyasi and I cannot go everywhere and anywhere I want and preach Harikatha. So instead, you become a Grihastha. You become a Grihastha, then you can go and preach everywhere. I've already taken sannyas. I cannot go back. So you become a Grihastha and you preach everywhere. So Nitai told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, oh Lord, you are independent. You are free to do whatever you want to do. And Nityananda Prabhu wanted to avoid this, but eventually he agreed to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's proposal. And Nityananda Prabhu says that, oh Lord, it is you who have banished Sita Devi to the forest. Though she loved you so much, still you banished her to the forest. And then what did you do with the gopis? They left everything. In the middle of the night, they came to you to meet you, to dance with you. They left behind their families. They left behind their house. They left behind their prestige, honor, everything, and they came for you. And what did you do? You just left them one fine day and you left Vrindavan. And then Nityananda Prabhu said, and in this very life, what did you do with your dear wife Vishnupriya? She loved you so much. And at a very young age, you took sannyas. You gave up your Grihastha ashram and you took sannyas. So it is very difficult to understand your pastimes. It's simply mind-boggling. So giving these reasons, Nityananda Prabhu agreed to Mahaprabhu's proposal and he left to Gaudadesh to get married. So here, there is one important lesson for all of us to learn. The lesson is, we should take the instructions that we receive from our superiors, from our spiritual master, from our acharyas, and we should follow them sincerely. It is for our own benefit. As we are not pure to receive instructions directly from Krishna, that's why Krishna sends the instructions to us in various ways, through his devotees in particular. So whatever instructions we receive from the devotees, and these are senior Vaishnavas, senior devotees who are practicing the path of bhakti for quite some time, who are fixed up in their dedication to the process of bhakti and in devotion to Radha Krishna. From those seniors, whatever instructions we receive, we should take it to our heart and we should follow sincerely. And by doing that, we will be successful in our bhakti. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at this point also gave 2 hints to Nitai. Just to console Nitai, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave 2 more hints. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that I will personally come as your son. That is the first hint that Mahaprabhu gave. And the second one is, he said, your potency, your wife will actually lead our legacy. She will carry our legacy forward. After we depart, your wife will, who is your internal potency, will carry our legacy forward. So these 2 hints Mahaprabhu gave to Nityananda Prabhu just to encourage him. And then Nityananda Prabhu went to Gaudadesh. So back in Shaligram, Suryadas, one night while he was sleeping, he had a beautiful dream. And in the dream, he saw Nitai, and Nitai was sitting on an asan, and on one side was Jahnavi Devi, and on another side was Vasudha. He had this beautiful darshan. They were all glowing with so much effulgence, beautifully dressed, with beautiful ornaments, beautiful garlands, beautiful garments. And in a moment, they all transformed. Nityananda Prabhu became Sri Balaram, Vasudha became Varuni, and then Revati became Jahnavi. So he got this beautiful dream and immediately he woke up. And he was amazed. He could not sleep anymore. Then the next day morning, he immediately sent a letter to Nityananda Prabhu, requesting him to marry both of his daughters. So at that time, Nityananda Prabhu was in Srivasangan when the letter was delivered. And the Brahman who delivered the letter read the letter out loud on Nityananda Prabhu's request. And everyone present there heard the letter. And they were jubilant, they were so happy. Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, Murari Gupta, all the devotees present there, they were very happy. And they were jumping in joy, jumping in ecstasy, knowing that our very dear Nitai is going to get married. Then immediately the Brahmana asked Nityananda Prabhu for his response, and Nityananda Prabhu accepted. He said, this is the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's manifesting in this form, so I will simply accept. I'm subservient to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction, so I will accept. So then he started to Shaligram to marry the 2 daughters of Suryadev. And there are 2 versions of this story at this juncture. One version says that Suryadas, he gave both the daughters in marriage to Nityananda Prabhu. The marriage happened at once, and it was a very jubilant celebration. And another version says that when Nityananda Prabhu arrived at Shaligram, at that time, under the influence of Yogamaya, Suryadas was bewildered. He got a thought in his mind. He thought that our Nitai is an Avadut. He does not belong to any Varnashram. And now, so Avadut is considered actually above the Varnashram Dharma. So now Nityananda Prabhu is desiring to become a Gruhastha. That means it is a step down. So in his dream, Suryadas got this dream and he thought this was not appropriate. He did not feel that this was the right thing. And when Nityananda Prabhu came to meet him, Suryadas humbly denied the request. And Nityananda Prabhu, he did not get disturbed. He simply accepted this also as, the Lord's play. And he simply accepted whatever Suryadas said. And he just said Hare Krishna and he left. Now, this is a lesson for us. There is another important lesson here for us. Varnashrama Dharma is not applicable to the Lord. It is not applicable to the senior Vaishnavas. It is not applicable to devotees. Krishna created Varnashram Dharma only to elevate the fallen conditioned souls and to bring them back to the path of bhakti. Chaturvarnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Only he divided the society into 4 varnas and 4 ashramas based on their modes: mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the qualities. The Lord and his devotees are beyond these 3 modes. So that's why the Varnashrama Dharma does not apply to the Lord and his devotees. And also another lesson that we can learn from this pastime is that we should not offend Vaishnava. Suryadas Sarakel, he originally promised Nityananda Prabhu to give that he will give his daughters in marriage to Nityananda Prabhu, but he went back on his word. So this is like an offense. When this conversation between Nityananda Prabhu and Suryadas was happening, at that time, Vasudha Devi was in an adjacent room and she overheard the conversation. And at the end of the conversation, when her father, Suryadas, declined to give both Vasudha and Jahnavi in marriage to Nityananda Prabhu, she immediately went into a shock. She started crying piteously. She started crying heavily. She fell on the floor and she fainted. It is explained that her limbs became numb. Her body was changing color. Her eyes were rolled back. And it was as if she left her body. So immediately, the servants of Suryadas called out Suryadas. They cried out loudly for Suryadas to come and inspect his daughter, see his daughter, check on his daughter. And he was also sad looking at her, and they immediately called a Vaidyaraj, an Ayurvedic doctor. So this Vaidyaraj saw Vasudha, and he said that she has a severe condition, epilepsy, I think, and she is about to leave her body. There's not much time left. She will, in very short time, she's going to leave her body. Just, I think it is best for you all to prepare for her final rites, for her funeral. So the family members were very sad hearing this, and they carried the body of Vasudha Devi to the bank of Ganga. And there they were, with great sorrow, they were preparing for her final rites. And at this point, Suryadas, being a pure soul, a pure devotee of the Lord, he had an inspiration in his heart. He had a realization in his heart. He realized that it is because of his offense to Lord Nityananda, that is what has led to this situation of Vasudha Devi. The deterioration of Vasudha's health was mainly because of his offense to Lord Nityananda. So Suryadas had this realization or understanding in his heart. So that's why we should never offend a Vaishnava. We should not it's not that, we are afraid of the material reactions because of which we avoid committing an offense to a Vaishnava. No, that's not the reason. The reason is Vaishnavas are very dear to Krishna. And if we offend a Vaishnava, if we trouble a Vaishnava, if we hurt a Vaishnava's feelings, Krishna will not be pleased. Actually, the Vaishnava will not take the offense. The Vaishnava is not displeased. The Vaishnava simply goes on with his bhajan. He will simply continue performing his devotional, pure loving devotional service to Sri Sri Radha Krishna. But actually, the offense or the hurt is taken by Krishna. And that is why the offender is punished. So another lesson at this point, if we are sincere in our bhajan, if we are sincere in our bhakti, then Krishna will give us the intelligence. He will give us the knowledge to understand that we have committed an offense. And Krishna will also give us an opportunity to rectify the offense, to correct the offense. So we should not be always offense conscious. We should not be thinking that, oh, now I'm going to a Vaishnava, so I have to make sure I don't commit any offense. No, that should not be our consciousness. We should be Krishna conscious. And naturally, when we perform our bhakti sincerely, our knowledge and our realizations grow, with which we will automatically avoid committing offenses. We don't have to endeavor separately for it. If we are sincere in our bhakti, then Krishna automatically gives us the intelligence with which we will not commit any offenses. And also, even if we, unfortunately, for whatever reason, if we happen to commit an offense, but if we are sincerely repenting in our heart, then Krishna will arrange a situation where we will be able to rectify our mistake, where we will be able to correct our mistake. So with this, Suryadas, getting that realization, he ran to Nityananda Prabhu. At that time, Nityananda Prabhu was peacefully sitting under a tree. Suryadas ran and fell at his feet and begged forgiveness from Nityananda Prabhu and requested Nityananda Prabhu to come and save his daughter Vasudha. So our Nityananda Prabhu, he agreed. He said, yes, I will come, but I will come on one condition. And what is the condition? Nityananda Prabhu said, you should promise me that you will give Vasudha to me in marriage. Only then I will come. Then Suryadas, he promised, he agreed. He said, yes, now I will give Vasudha to you in marriage. I have no more doubts. I don't need any more clarifications. My consciousness is clear. There are no offense. I will not commit any offense anymore. I will not decline anymore. Please come and marry my daughter. So this is the lesson that I was telling before, that Krishna, when we practice our bhajan sincerely, Krishna gives us the process through which we can rectify our offenses. We should not commit offenses thinking that, Krishna will give me an opportunity to rectify it. No, that should not be the attitude. The attitude is we should simply perform our bhajan nicely, try our best to avoid committing offenses. But unfortunately, if an offense happens, then Krishna will give us an opportunity to rectify our mistakes or our offenses. And the way to rectify for an offense, the simplest and the easiest way is to beg forgiveness from the devotee that we have offended and to serve them in a humble way, to serve them in a menial way. That way we can purify ourselves from the offense that we have committed. So when Nitai arrived there at the place where the relatives of Suryadas were preparing for the final rites, when Nitai arrived there, it was at the bank of Ganga. It is explained that Nitai just walks in. He does not do anything. He does not try to wake up Vasudha Devi or anything like that. He just walked in, and as soon as he approached that area, the breeze that was touching the beautiful body of Nitai went into the nostrils of Vasudha Devi. And as soon as the breeze, the wind, reached the nostrils of Vasudha Devi, immediately she got up. And she looked like she was normal. She was effulgent. She was looking very fresh. And she looked at Nitai and she felt shy, and she covered her head with her sari in shy. So then everyone understood that Vasudha Devi and Nitai were born for each other, and immediately the marriage ceremony was arranged. So here, again, there are two versions. One version says that Suryadas gave both the daughters in marriage at the same time. And another version, it says that first Vasudha Devi was married. And after the marriage, once when Nityananda Prabhu was honoring Prasadam at that time, Jahnavi Devi, who is the younger sister of Vasudha, she came and she was serving Prasadam to Nityananda Prabhu. She had her head covered with her sari, and with two hands she was serving Prasadam to Nityananda Prabhu. So at this time, because of some wind, the covering, the sari that was covering her head kind of slowly was blowing away, was moving away. So out of shy, Jahnavi Devi wanted to cover her head, but in her hands, she had Prasadam vessel, and she was serving Nityananda Prabhu, and she did not want to interrupt the service. So immediately, two more hands sprung out from her body. Immediately, two more hands sprung out from her body, and with those two hands, she covered her head. With two hands, she was serving Lord Nityananda Prabhu the Prasad, and with two hands, she covered her head. So when Nitai saw this, immediately he realized that Jahnavi Devi is his internal potency, is his eternal consort. And he immediately called Suryadas, and he told Suryadas that I don't think I've received enough dowry. I think you have to give me some more dowry. Then Suryadas said, "Oh Lord, you are my Lord. Whatever is mine is yours. You can take anything you want. Whatever you want, please ask, I will give it to you." So at that time, Nityananda Prabhu said, I think I will take Jahnavi Devi as my dowry. Then Suryadas was very joyous, in a great joyful mood. He agreed, and again, another marriage ceremony was arranged in which Lord Nityananda married Jahnavi Devi. So here another important lesson for us. In this world, nothing belongs to us. Whatever we have, our material possessions, our education, our bank balance, our designations, our own body, it does not belong to us. Everything belongs to Lord Krishna. And when we leave this world, we don't take any of these with us. So that's why we should surrender whatever we have. We should surrender to Lord Krishna, to our acharyas, to the Vaishnavas, to the service of the Vaishnavas. And when we do this, then we can achieve perfection. So this is why Suryadas, he readily agreed to Lord Nityananda's proposal of marrying Jahnavi Devi. So like this, again, another a grand marriage celebration happened where Nityananda Prabhu married Jahnavi Devi. So it is explained that the marriage happened in Ambika Kalna, because both Vasudha Devi and Jahnava Devi, they were very attached to Gauridas Pandit, their uncle Gauridas Pandit. And also it is explained that all the marriage expenses were paid by a devotee named Krishnadas. This devotee Krishnadas was a son of a local nearby king, Raja Harihara, and he was very dear to Lord Nityananda. So we know in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, we hear how Buddhimanta Khan has made all arrangements for the wedding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Vishnupriya Devi. Similarly, this Krishnadas has arranged and paid for all the expenses of Lord Nityananda's marriage. So finally, Lord Nityananda is married and he has 2 wives. After the marriage, they decide to go and take blessings of various devotees. So they first go to Mother Sachi for her blessings. So when Mother Sachi saw Lord Nityananda, Vasudha Devi and Jahnava Devi, she was very, very delighted. She was very happy to see Nityananda Prabhu with getting married, and she hugged and showered motherly affection on all 3 of them, especially on Vasudha Devi and Jahnava Devi. And she blessed them nicely. And then she instructed them to go and take blessings from Sita Thakurani, who is the wife of Advaita Acharya. So from Shachimata's house, they went to Shantipur to take blessings of Sita Thakurani. And when they arrived at Sita Thakurani's house, again, she was also very happy. She took both Vasudha and Jahnavi and made them sit on her lap. And she showered a lot of motherly affection on both of them. So after staying there for a few days, they went on to Saptagram. Saptagram is a place where the great devotee Uddharan Datta Thakur was living. And he was a great devotee of Lord Nityananda. And it is explained that he was one of the Dvadasha Gopalas of Balaram. And he was serving Balaram. And his name was Subahu Saka. In Vrajalila, he was Subahu Saka. So they stayed at Uddharan Datta Thakur's place for some time. And then from there, they traveled to Saptagram. Saptagram was where they were. And from Saptagram, they traveled and they went to other places, and finally they arrived at Kardaha. Kardaha is where they set up their residence. And it is explained that they became traveling preachers from there. They were going out and preaching at various places and spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement, spreading Vaishnavism. It is explained that Jahnava Devi never had any children. However, they adopted a boy by the name Ramachandra. And Vasudha Devi gave birth to 8 sons and 1 daughter. Unfortunately, 7 of those sons passed away, but the 8th son and the daughter survived. The son they named Veerabhadra or Veerachandra. There are 2 names, either Veerachandra or Veerabhadra. And then the daughter they named Gangadevi. This Veerachandra, it is explained that this Veerachandra is actually an expansion of Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. And Ganga Devi is expansion of Mother Ganga, the river Ganga. So this is one of the promises that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Nityananda Prabhu, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Nityananda Prabhu that he will personally come as his son. So that is why Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu came as Veerachandra, as the son of Lord Nityananda. So in due course of time, Vasudha Devi left her body and Jahnava Devi brought up all the 3 kids, Ramachandra, Veerachandra and Ganga Devi. She brought them up very nicely in a nice devotional environment and make them nice devotees. So as time passed by, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, everybody, one after the another, all of these great personalities left this world. And eventually, Nityananda Prabhu also left. All the Panchtattva and all of their associates have left this world. So at this point, there was a big vacuum because there were no leaders at that point. There were no acharyas to lead the devotees. Our Goswamis, Lokanath Goswami, Bhugarbha Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they were all there, but they were present in Vrindavan. The vacuum was in Gaudadesh because there was nobody to lead the devotees in Gaudadesh. So the big question on everyone's mind was, who will be the next leader? Who will take up the baton, the legacy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and carry forward? That is when our dear Jahanava Devi, she stepped up and became the leader of all the Vaishnavas. This was a very important juncture in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism because she carried forward the legacy. So one important lesson for us here is that leaders are not born, they're actually made. Because how are leaders made? Leaders are not made by people electing them. No, leaders are made because of their vision, because of their intelligence, because of their expertise, because of their knowledge, and because of their ability to lead the people, lead and guide the people. That is how leaders are made. So at this important juncture, Jahanava Devi, she became the leader of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So a slight detour here. At this point, Virabhadra was still young. Virachandra or Virabhadra, he was still young, and he was considering Jahanava Devi as his Shiksha Guru. So after a while, Virabhadra wanted to get initiated. He wanted to take Diksha, but he was not sure who to take Diksha from. So he went to Sita Thakurani, who was very elderly at that time. He went to Sita Thakurani and asked her, I would like to take initiation. Could you advise me? Who should I take initiation from? So Sita Thakurani, without any hesitation, without any doubt in her mind, without even having to think through that question, she immediately said, you should take initiation from Jahanava Devi. Immediately, Virabhadra was surprised. He was hesitant in his heart. He told Sita Thakurani, or he was contemplating in his heart that Jahanava Devi is a woman. She's in a woman body. I respect her. I have a lot of appreciation for her. I learned so many things from her. But because she's in a woman body, I don't feel like I should take initiation from her. I would like to take initiation from a male Acharya. So with these thoughts in his mind, he came back to his house. And as he was entering his house, it is explained that at that time, Jahanava Devi, she just finished her bath and she was coming out of the bathroom and she was drying her hair. And it is explained that at that time, because of some wind, the cloth that was covering her body was moving away because of the wind. And with two of her hands, she was actually drying her hair. So, and Virabhadra was entering the home at that time. Virabhadra was little grown up. So Mother Jahanava Devi, she felt it inappropriate and she wanted to hold the cloth. So immediately two hands, again, another two hands came and held the cloth, covering her body nicely. So Virabhadra saw this and he was amazed. He understood his mistake. He understood the glory of Jahanava Devi. He understood that she is a special personality and he fell at her feet. He begged forgiveness and he begged her to initiate him. So Jahanava Devi mercifully agreed. She blessed him and she initiated him. And it is explained that Jahanava Devi also initiated Veerabhadra's son, Gopijana Vallabha. And like this, she went on initiating hundreds and thousands of devotees. It is explained that Janava Devi was very compassionate. She was a vault of all treasures. She had all good qualities. What are her treasures? Her treasures were all good qualities. She was a great devotee. She was a great teacher. She was full of Shastric knowledge. She was very expert in guiding and leading people. She was a true leader. So she was always thinking of how to keep the Gaudiya Sampradaya together and how to spread the legacy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Once when Narottam Das Thakur was traveling, he came to Kharta to meet and take blessings from Janava Devi. And it is explained that at that time, Janava Devi inspired Narottam Das Thakur to arrange a big festival to celebrate the first Gaur Purnima festival. And another important thing that Janava Devi did was, at that time, Gaudadesh, the devotees or the people in Gaudadesh were deviating. They were not following the rules and regulations of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. They were misinterpreting the rules and regulations. So Janava Devi, she actually sent a message to Jiva Goswami. She sent a message to Jiva Goswami requesting him to send all the important scriptures, all the scriptures that talk about the rules and regulations, how to practice bhakti. She requested Jiva Goswami to send the books to Gaudadesh so that the people in Gaudadesh can also read the books and follow and become devotees. See, Vrindavan had no lack at that time because in Vrindavan, the Goswamis were there and they were writing so many books. So the devotees in Vrindavan were always enriched. They had the knowledge and they had the clear understanding of how to perform bhakti. But Gaudadesh lacked that. And Mother Janava Devi, she sent a message to Jiva Goswami to bridge that gap, to send the books so that people in Gaudadesh can also read and become devotees. So that is why we hear the famous pastime where Srinivas Acharya, Shyamananda Pandit, Narottam Das Thakur, they all take the books and travel to distribute. And we know the famous pastime where the books are stolen, so that's a separate pastime in itself, lecture in itself. But that is how so Janava Devi inspired that book distribution. So here we have an important lesson. The important lesson is, Srila Prabhupada says that books are the basis. Books are the underlying support for our bhajan, underlying support for the Krishna consciousness movement. If it was not for Srila Prabhupada's books, we will be lost. We will not know how to perform bhakti. We will not be able to read about all the great acharyas. We will not be able to understand the instructions of Krishna. There were many Bhagavad Gitas before Srila Prabhupada gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is, but the true message was lost. So like that, books are the basis. Books are very important for us. So this is how Janava Devi inspired Jiva Goswami to send the books to Gaudadesh so that people in Gaudadesh also can read and become devotees. Mataji, one quick question. How long do I have? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mataji, yeah. How long can I continue? 12:15?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Your wish, yeah. 12:15 to 12:30 is fine, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. So another important event in the life of Janava Devi, very famous, is the Keturi festival. So Narottam Das Thakur was inspired to arrange a big festival at Keturi, celebrating the Gaur Purnima festival. So this was the first time Gaur Purnima was celebrated after Mahaprabhu left this world. So and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came in the dream of Janava Devi, and he instructed her to go to this festival and actually to preside over this festival. So Janava Devi, she took this instruction to her heart and she decided to go to Keturi. And Mahaprabhu also told Janava Devi that he himself, along with his associates, will manifest in this festival. So that's why he said, you should definitely go. So after hearing these instructions, Janava Devi became overjoyed. She had so much pleasure and joy in her heart that she decided to go to Keturi. So when the residents of Karda came to know that Janava Devi would be leaving to Keturi, they all became very sad. They all came to meet her. They were all crying in sorrow, anticipating the separation. Mother Janava Devi compassionately consoled all of them, and she also assigned responsibilities to key people there to take care of all the activities there in Karta. And then she left. At that time, along with her, a lot of devotees also traveled. A lot of her maid servants also accompanied in this journey. So it is explained. So this is a very long pastime, but I will try to, because of lack of time, I'll try to compress and speak only few of the important events. So it is explained that as the congregation of devotees, the palanquin of Mother Janava Devi was passing various villages, all the villagers became devotees. All the villagers became Vaishnavas. So on the way, they first went to Gauridas Pandit's house in Ambika Kalna. And there, Mother Janava Devi, she cooked for the deities of the Gaurnitai deities, and she worshipped them very nicely. And they stayed there that night, and next day they traveled to Navadvip. And on reaching Navadvip, she went to Mahaprabhu's home, and she saw that Mother Sachi was no longer there. So in the absence of Mother Sachi, she felt very sad, not able to take darshan of Sachimata. She felt very unhappy. She was very sad. And from there, she went to Srivas Thakur's house. Srivas Thakur's house. And when she went there, she realized that Srivas Pandit and Malini Devi were no longer there. His brothers, Srivas Pandit's brothers, they received her and they welcomed her. They gave her a place to stay. They took care of her nicely. She also cooked for the devotees and served them all nice prasadam. And from there, they went to Shantipur to take blessings of Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani. But unfortunately, there also, Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani left. So Achyutananda and Gopala, who are the sons of Advaita Acharya, they received these devotees, Janava Devi and other devotees, and they hosted them. They made arrangements for their comfortable stay. And they stayed there for a day, and then they left again. They finally left to Keturi. So in Keturi, Mother Janava, she presided over this festival. She took a big part in organizing, in arranging, in making sure the festival happened very nicely. And King Santosha Datta, who is the nephew of Narottam Das Thakur, he actually arranged, he paid for all the expenses. He arranged whatever is needed. He ensured there were guest houses built for all the devotees. He ensured that there was prasadam available for everyone, nice guest places to stay, ensured everyone was comfortable. So Santosh Datta, who is the nephew of Narottam Das Thakur, took care of this. And the day before Gaura Purnima, which was the Adivas ceremony day, it was decided that Janava Devi will be the official chief guest for the event. And then Srinivas Acharya will be the priest, head priest for this event. And the puja, the worship started. And then there was a long Sankirtan. There was a long jubilant Sankirtan into the night. And in the night, all the devotees had prasadam and they took rest. The next day, Mother Janava, she woke up very early in the morning. It is the day of the festival, the Gaur Purnima festival. So she woke up very early in the morning. She took her bath, she did her japa, she did whatever morning activities she does. She did all of her bhajan. And then she started cooking for the festival. And Srinivas Acharya started the process of deity installation. And Raghunandan was doing the kirtan. So there was all the devotees were so much jubilant. They were jumping in joy because of the kirtan, all the festivities that were happening. And people were coming from all directions. And it is explained that even the demigods came to take part in this festival. So after Raghunandan Thakur sang, Narottam Das Thakur took over the kirtan. Narottam Das Thakur led the kirtan. At that time, Janava Devi glanced at Narottam Das Thakur very mercifully. And through her merciful glance, she infused and she empowered Narottam Das Thakur with a special spiritual potency, with a special spiritual energy, due to which Narottam Das Thakur was enriched with love and pure devotion. And he started singing with pure devotion. And hearing his bhajan, everyone present there were in ecstasy. They just forgot their material bodies, their material existence, and they were just dancing in spiritual ecstasy. And as the intensity of this kirtan reached its peak, suddenly, to the surprise of all the devotees present there, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his associates, the Panchatattva, and all senior close associates of Lord Mahaprabhu appeared there. All of a sudden, they appeared there. And they also started dancing. And seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Panchatattva, and his associates dancing, the devotees, the ecstasy of the devotees increased more. And they also started jumping and dancing with joy. And like this, the Sankirtan went on for a long time. But unfortunately, after some time, suddenly Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with all his associates, disappeared. Mahaprabhu left that festival. Seeing this, all the devotees were heartbroken. They felt very sad. They had association of Mahaprabhu, and then they lost the association of Mahaprabhu. And in separation, everyone was just overtaken by the sorrow of separation. And seeing this, Mother Janava, she's an expert devotee. She was also feeling sad. Mother Janava was also feeling sad after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Nityananda Prabhu was there at that time. Nityananda Prabhu also appeared. So seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu disappearing from there, Mother Janava also felt very sad. But she felt sad more for the devotees. So immediately she got up and she instructed the devotees to play Phagu Khela. This is a festival of colors. We call it Holi, but this is the origin of how this festival of colors is celebrated on Gaur Purnima. Mother Janava Devi, she started this festival. So the devotees brought color powder. The color powder was mixed with camphor, various fragrances, scented powders, and the devotees applied the color powder to the deities, and then the devotees applied on each other in a loving way. There was no fighting, or there was no aggressiveness here. It was just gentle, lovingly applying color on each other. And with this, again, the mood became very joyful. It was a sorrowful mood, which Jahnava Devi changed into a joyful mood. And then she cooked for all the devotees. It is explained that Jahnava Devi was an expert cook. She was actually expert in everything that she did. And especially in the area of cooking, she was always eager to cook for the devotees. More than the deities. She cooked for the deities also, but she was more eager and more lovingly she cooked for the devotees. So here, this is an important lesson for us to learn, that sometimes we feel excited or we feel privileged to cook for the deities at the temple, but we don't feel the same excitement or the same enthusiasm to cook for devotees. So this is a lesson for us, that Krishna says that Mad Bhaktya Puja Prantika. My devotees are more worshipable than himself. My devotees are more worshipable than me. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. The worship of Tadiyas, the near and dear of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, is the topmost. So we have to learn, we can learn, this is one lesson, one more lesson we can learn from the life of Jahnava Devi, that we should always be eager and enthusiastic to serve Vaishnavas. So the Keturi festival, it went on for 3 days. And finally, Jahnava Devi, she decided to travel to Vrindavan from there. And during her travel, she traveled along with a lot of devotees and her maidservants also. A lot of them were her disciples. So she was traveling along with them to Vrindavan. And as she was traveling through the various villages, she was preaching and converting everyone to devotees. On this, in this travel, there are very nice events that took place, and there are 2 famous ones that are narrated by our acharyas and our spiritual masters. So I will also narrate them. In one village, there were in one village there is prevalent of Chandi worship. Everyone was a worshipable of Chandi Devi. So when the leaders of the village came to know that Jahnava Devi came to their village, they were very envious of her. They were thinking that Chandi Devi is the only woman who can be a leader. She's the only acharya. Who is Jahnava Devi? Why is everyone going to her? Why is everyone worshipping her? Why is everyone calling her as a leader and an acharya? This is ridiculous. So they were very envious of her, and they all went to Chandi Devi and they worshipped Chandi Devi. They prayed to Chandi Devi to kill Jahnava Devi and all the devotees that are traveling with her. So they worshipped to Chandi Devi like this, and they went home. And in the night, all of them who worshipped to Chandi Devi, all of them had a dream. And in the dream, Mother Chandi, she appeared to all of them, and she said, out of anger, she yelled at them. She said, "Oh, sinful rascals, who do you think Jahnava Devi is? She is the Shakti, the potency of my worshipable Lord. I am her eternal servant. So how can you think of causing harm to Jahnava Devi and her followers? I will chop off all of your heads. I instruct all of you to go fall at the feet of Jahnava Devi, and take her blessings and beg for forgiveness. If not, I will kill all of you." So immediately all of the villagers woke up from their sleep, and next day morning they fell at the feet of Jahnava Devi, they begged forgiveness, and they surrendered to her. Mother Jahnava, being a compassionate Vaishnava, she did not take any offense. She forgave all of them. She blessed them, and she converted all of them to Vaishnavas, and she actually initiated them also. So the lesson for us here is worship of devotees is higher than worship of demigods. And actually it is higher than even worship of Krishna. So the next day, all the villagers, they came and they became disciples of Janava Devi. So another beautiful story that comes in these travels is as Janava Devi's glory spread far and wide like wildfire, it so happened that some dacoits who killed and robbed people of their belongings, these dacoits also came to know of Mother Janava. So they realized that this lady, she's so popular, she's so famous, everybody is worshipping her, everybody is glorifying her. So that means she must have a lot of wealth. People must be donating a lot of wealth to her. So she must be very rich. She must have a lot of gold, a lot of ornaments, a lot of wealth. So they decided that they will attack her and her associates one night and kill and rob all of their belongings. So with that intention, one night when Janava Devi and her associates, when they were resting, at that time, these dacoits hid in the nearby bushes. And it is explained that these bushes were just few meters away from where the devotees were resting. And as soon as night fell and all the devotees were sleeping, at that time, they all signaled each other. They picked up their swords and started running towards the devotees, towards the place where the devotees were sleeping. And it was just few meters away. So it should not have taken them more than a minute to run and reach them. But as they were running towards the devotees, the path kept stretching. The path became elongating. It became farther. The devotees looked as if they were farther and farther. So the dacoits were running all night. It is explained in Krishna Lila also. Amarendra Prabhu explains this very nicely. He says that when the demons are trying to chase Krishna, the Vrindavan Dham actually expands. So it becomes difficult for the demons to catch Krishna, and they are tired by running to chase Krishna. So like this, the path between the dacoits and the devotees also stretched. It became elongated, and the dacoits were running all night. And finally, the sun started to rise. And then they realized that they were in the same spot where they were in the night when they were about to start their running. Wherever they were before, they were at the same spot. So they realized, they understood that they're doing a big mistake. They understood the great potency of Janava Devi, and they decided to surrender to her. But because of their running all night, their legs were hurting. They lost all strength in their legs, and they were not even able to walk. So they fell down on the ground and they started to crawl. And as soon as they started to crawl, immediately within the next moment, they were in the front of Janava Devi. So here there is a very nice lesson for us. When we take a humble position and perform our bhajan in a simple way, sincerely, in a humble position, with humility, when we serve, when we perform our bhajan, then Krishna will definitely bestow his mercy upon us. So in this way, when the dacoits fell on their knees and started to crawl, immediately they were able to reach Janava Devi. So they all fell at Janava Devi's feet and they begged for her forgiveness. And Mother Janava, again being compassionate, she blessed them, she forgave them for their offenses, and she actually initiated them. She initiated them into the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So this news of the transformation of the leader of the dacoits was spread like wildfire. People, after hearing this, were coming to Mother Janava from all directions, getting converted to devotees, taking Diksha, performing their bhajan very nicely. Like this, Mother Janava, she made more and more devotees. So she was an important Acharya in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So like this, she traveled and she reached Vrindavan finally. It is explained that when she reached Vrindavan, all the Goswamis who were present in Vrindavan at that time, they all came running to receive her and greet her. They fell in front of her and paid obeisances, and she also paid obeisances to them. So they took her around to visit all the temples. They showed all nice pastime places of Radha Krishna. And Mother Janava also, she cooked. She loved to cook. So she cooked for all the deities, for all the Vaishnavas. She gave a lot of gifts for the deities, ornaments, clothing, nice boga. She gave a lot of gifts, and she fed all the Vaishnavas also. So all devotees were happy in her association. But unfortunately, there was one devotee who was bereft of her association, and that was Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. We know Raghunath Das Goswami was at Radhakund. He, after Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami left this world, he felt very sad, and he reduced the intake of his food. You know, he just used to take little buttermilk every few days. So because of the reduce of his food intake, he actually became very weak. He became emaciated. He became very thin, and he did not even have strength to walk. So he was very weak. So, but he had a strong desire to meet Janava Devi. And Janava Devi, being the internal potency of Lord Nityananda, she also realized this. She also realized that this great devotee, Raghunath Das Goswami, wants to meet me. So with that thought, she informed the devotees in Vrindavan that she will travel to Radhakund. So when this news came out, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he was also old at that time, but he was very close to Raghunath Das Goswami. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he ran to Raghunath Das Goswami, and he informed him that Janava Devi is coming here very soon to see him. So Raghunath Das Goswami, hearing this, he was very happy. He was almost jumping in joy with jubilation. So after some time, Janava Devi came to Radhakund to meet Raghunath Das Goswami. At that time, Raghunath Das Goswami fell at her feet and paid obeisances. So like this, there was nice exchanges between Raghunath Das Goswami and Janava Devi. There is a nice place called Janava Baitak where they both sat and discussed. Raghunath Das Goswami narrated so many nice, wonderful pastimes of Radha Krishna. And once at Radhakund, Janava Devi, she heard a flute sound. And she turned around and she saw Krishna playing the flute. Next to him was Radharani, and surrounding them were all the gopis. And seeing this, she fainted. She just fell down at that place. And after she came back to consciousness, she stayed there for some time. She stayed there for some time, and she performed her bhajan there. That is where a bhajan kutir is established for her. Then one day she asked Raghunath Das Goswami to take her on a tour around Govardhan. There's a nice exchange at this point where Raghunath Das Goswami humbly says, you know, I have no knowledge. How can I take you on parikrama? You are more senior to me. You are the internal potency of Nityananda Prabhu. I am here because of Nityananda Prabhu, but you are personal internal potency of Nityananda Prabhu. So you are very superior to me. He also said that, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, everyone, all the devotees, they are who they are only because of Nityananda Prabhu. And you are the internal potency of Nityananda Prabhu. So how can I take you on parikrama? Like this, Raghunath Das Goswami was taking a humble position. But, Janava Devi countered all of his arguments. She said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally gave you a Shila to worship, so Govardhan Shila to worship. So you are the authority. So please take me on parikrama. So she requested him, and finally Raghunath Das Goswami agreed, and they went on parikrama. And it is explained that this parikrama went on for several days because one, Raghunath Das Goswami was old and weak. He could not walk fast. And also at every Leela Stali, they were stopping, and Raghunath Das Goswami was giving an elaborate explanation of the Leela, the pastime that took place at that place. So this is a nice lesson for us also. Generally, at least for me, when I go to Govardhan Parikrama, my aim is to complete the Govardhan Parikrama soon. But the lesson for all of us is that it's not about completing the parikrama. It is about absorbing into the leelas that have happened around Govardhan, in and around Govardhan. That way we can increase our devotion. So we should all take time in understanding all the pastimes that have happened and increase our bhakti. So there are two more things that I will mention and quickly wrap up. I know we have only 4 more minutes. Once when Janava Mataji, Jahnavi Devi was in near Ramghat, she heard some loud cries coming from a nearby village. So she went there because a Vaishnava is Paradukha Dukhi. She was not able to bear the loud cries of these villagers. So she went there, and she saw that there was a small boy who was lying down on the ground as if he was dead, lifeless. So she saw near the boy were 2 old wife and husband, and they were crying almost heartbroken, as if the world was coming to an end. They were crying very piteously. And there were several relatives around them who were also crying. So many villagers were also present. They were also crying, looking at this situation. And Janava Devi, she felt very sad for them. She understood that this boy has left his body, and to shower her mercy on this boy, she approached the dead body, and she wanted to place her hand on the head of this boy, bless this boy. So at that time, the parents told Mother Janava that, see, this is a dead body. You should not touch this dead body. You will become contaminated. This is impure. So please don't touch him. Then Janava Devi, she replied that, you are all Vrajavasis. This boy is a Vrajavasi. He was born in Vrajtam. So anything related to Vraja, anything related to Vrindavan is auspicious, is fully purifying. It cannot contaminate. This body cannot contaminate me. With these words, she approached the dead body, and she placed her hand and she blessed the boy. Immediately, the boy woke up. The boy woke up as if nothing happened. His life was restored. Then the devotees were all the villagers were very happy. The parents were very happy, and they started glorifying Mother Janava, that it was because of her that this boy came back. But Mother Janava humbly told them that, it is not because of me that this boy came back. It is because this boy is dear to Krishna. You are all Vrajavasis. Krishna loves Vrajavasis, and he cannot bear the sorrow of Vrajavasis. So hearing your cries, Krishna himself brought this boy back to life. So she was giving credit to Krishna. She was not taking any credit. So this is another important lesson for us. Whenever we perform any service or anything, we should not take credit for it. We should always give the credit to Krishna, Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas, our acharyas. They are the recipients of all the credit. And with false ego, kartaham iti manyate, with false ego, thinking that we are the doers, if we take the credit, then it will only lead to our fall down. So we should be very careful in this regard, because as devotees, we perform so much service, and we get generally devotees, other devotees being kind, they bestow their blessings, they glorify for the service that was performed, and we should be very cautious. We should not let the glorification enter our heart. We should automatically, immediately offer it to our Guru Maharaj, our acharyas. So we will be protected from the false ego. We will be protected from fall down. So I will wrap up with one more beautiful pastime. Once Janava Devi was visiting Radha Gopinath temple, and in that temple, Radharani's deity was much smaller compared to Krishna. Generally, in the temples we see Radha, Krishna, they're proportionate. The deities are in a proportionate size. But in this Radha Gopinath temple, the deity of Radharani was very small compared to Krishna, compared to Gopinath. So immediately she got a thought in her heart that Radharani looks much smaller. I wish Radharani was little bigger so that the combination of Radha Gopinath will look very beautiful. So she had this thought, and immediately she thought, no, how can I think like this? This is a deity manifested, so I should not think like this. So she removed that thought from her mind, from her heart, and she went back to her bhajan kutir. And on that night, when she was sleeping, both Radha Gopinath, both of them individually appeared in a dream to Janava Devi. First Gopinath told her that actually you are right. This Radharani deity is very small. Can you make another Radharani deity for me with a proportionate size, little bigger? This Gopinath came to in her dream, and he mentioned this. And then after a few minutes, even Radharani also came in a dream, and Radharani also mentioned the same thing, that you are correct. The deity that is there next to Gopinath is very small. Can you make a bigger deity of myself? So with this, Radharani also confirmed that the thought that Janava Devi had in her mind was true. And after some time, Janava Devi, she went back to Kardaha, and immediately when she went there, the first thing that she started was she called a sculpture, got a nice proportionate size of Radharani made, and she sent to Vrindavan, and she informed the devotees in Vrindavan to receive and install. So they installed. So the devotees moved the Radharani, who was on the small Radharani, who was on the left side of Krishna. They moved this small Radharani deity to the right side, and then they installed the new bigger Radharani deity to the left of Gopinath. And all the devotees were very jubilant. Everyone was very happy. Then after this, Mother Janava, she visited Vrindavan several times, and in her final visit, I will conclude with this last pastime. In her final visit, when she went to Vrindavan, she went to take darshan of Radha Gopinath. She saw the small deity on the right. She saw Gopinath in the middle, and she saw the bigger Radharani deity on the left of Krishna. She was very happy, very moved with ecstasy looking at these deities, and she prayed there for a while, and then she was about to leave. And when she was about to leave, when she turned around, immediately Gopinath, being naughty, he held her sari and he pulled her. And Janava Devi, she went back into the altar. And as soon as she went back into the altar, it is explained the doors were closed. the Radha Gopinath temple doors were closed. And after some time, the devotees opened the door, and they did not see Jahnava Devi anywhere. Then they realized that Jahnava Devi merged into the smaller deity. The Jahnava Devi merged into the smaller deity, which is on the right side of Krishna. And from then onwards, these deities were called Ananga, Kanai, Rai. Because Ananga Manjari is on the right side. She is the younger sister of Radharani. In the middle is Kanai, Krishna's another name. And on the left is Rai, which is another name for another sweet name that Krishna used to call Radharani. Krishna used to call Radharani as Rai, out of love, with affection. So from then onwards, these deities were called Ananga, Kanai, Rai. So with this, I thank all of you for listening patiently. Sorry for going over time. I pray to Jahnava Devi, the eternal consort of Lord Nityananda, to bless us with pure devotion, to bless us with the strength to overcome all our anarthas, to engage us in pure loving devotional service of the divine couple, Hari Guru Vaishnavas, and keep us always in the path of pure devotional service. Srimati Jahnavi Mata ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Ananta Koti Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very wonderful. All the pastimes of Jahnava. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful, wonderful class, Prabhuji, glorifying so many pastimes of Jahnava Devi. We are so thankful for you, Prabhuji, and Vasudha Devi also. So many pastimes, Prabhuji, like not able to say like one or two. So many beautiful about the Krishna Das, Jahnava Devi, Radha Kund, Ram Ghat, and how she was merged into the Radha Gopinath temple. So many, and his son Veerachandra, how he have taken the initiative and how he was first being like hesitate to take from the human body. So many pastimes, Prabhuji. It was wonderful nectarian class. So thankful to you. So Prabhuji, do you have some time for the questions, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, few minutes, yes.
I see one question in the chat. Shall I read it for you, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, sure.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev and Gauranga. Thank you for the nectarian class. Please let me know that, as you said, Krishna is showering his mercy on us, but we are holding umbrella and the mercy is not coming to us. So what is the umbrella resembles here?
So, can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so again, very beautiful question, Mataji. Thank you for all the kind words. It's all the mercy of the Vaishnavas or Acharyas, our Gurujan, that I was able to narrate few of the glories of Jahnava Devi. They are unlimited, but I just touched upon only a few of her glories. Coming to your question, Mataji, the umbrella that most of us are holding is our attachment to this material world, our anarthas. This umbrella is in various ways for different people. For some it is attachment to this body. For some it is attachment to the material possessions. For some it is lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. For some just attachment to this material world. See, it is explained, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoy Andakar, Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikar. So if we are devotees, then Krishna is with us. So when Krishna is with us, then there is no scope for Maya to trouble us. So this umbrella that we are holding is actually Maya. We are holding on to Maya. Because of that, we are not able to receive the mercy of Krishna. All we have to do is forget that we are this body and remember that we are eternal servants of Krishna. Jivera Sarupoi Krishnera Nityadas. When we establish ourselves in the position of Nitya Das of Krishna, Nitya servant of Krishna, when we constantly engage in the service of Krishna, that is the time when that umbrella which is covering us from the mercy of Krishna goes away. So that is the umbrella, Mataji. Our attachment to this material world, our senses, our desire to enjoy sense gratification, independent of Krishna, that is the umbrella that I was referring to. Does that answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's a beautiful answer.
Beautiful
And we
answer. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
And we have one more question also. Before that, I would request Radha Bhava Mataji, you can please go ahead and ask your question, Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Radha
Prabhu.
Bhava.
Thank you for such a wonderful class. It was so nectarian, full of nice stories, and it revived all the pastimes of Janama Mataji on her appearance days, especially today. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I missed something during the class. I'm not able to recollect it. Can you please repeat the 3 duties of Ananga Manjari? One, I just remember that she guards the kunj, and the other 2, Prabhuji.
So Mataji, first one is she receives the devotees that go to the spiritual world. She actually receives them first. She welcomes them. She introduces them to the other Gopas and Gopis, and she gives us a service, our eternal service, the service that we will do for Radha Krishna eternally. She gives us that service. And she also gives us a residence where we will stay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
And then she drives away any disturbance. She guards the kunj where Radha Krishna are resting, and she drives away all the disturbances. And then another one is it is explained that Rupa Manjari, when she is offering garlands to Radha Krishna, Ananga Manjari, she offers sandalwood paste mixed with camphor. So those are the 3. She has many services, but these are the 3 important services that our acharyas highlight, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And from Radhika Kasturi Mataji, she was asking, what are some of the references of these pastimes?
So Mataji, Gaur Ganadesha Deepika, and then Narahari Das Chakravarti Thakur's compositions. These are the main references, Mataji, and other references are the lectures that I have heard.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And now I request Vrinda Gopika Mataji, you can please go ahead, Mataji, with your question or realization.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम। श्रील प्रभुपाद, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय। Prabhu ji, day by day there is so much potency in your class. I have seen you and Mataji are sitting in Atlanta, Paniyatidam, front of Shri Radha Madan Mohan every Sunday and attending all the class, doing so many seva of Jai Pataka Maharaj. Prabhu ji, Ananga Kanai, Gopinath ki jai. Prabhuji, you explain not only 1 or 2 or 3 story, more than 15, 16 pastime. We have to hear again 1, 2, 3 times, then we can make a note, Prabhuji. So many, so sincerely explain about the pastime of Janva Mataji, and that is touch to heart that all are doing Shri Mata Rani Seva, and then Mata Rani explain them in a dream, and they all transfer and they give a respect to Janva Mataji, and Janva Mataji is cooking lots of prasadam and all the pastime. Prabhuji, you explained it is touched to heart, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandvat Pranam to your sincere seva. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Please give your association regularly, Prabhuji. Hari Hari, Gauranga. It is really, Prabhuji, touched to heart class, Prabhuji. So many pastime I never hear, and you explain all the pastime one by one by one by one. Ananta Koti Dandvat Pranam to your sincere seva. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Thank you, H.G. Sachi Gaur Prabhuji, for your sincere seva and your association, Prabhuji. Hari Hari, Gauranga.
Mataji, thank you so much for your kind words, Mataji. I'm not the true receptacle of your blessings, the glorification, or all the kind words that you have said. It's all mercy of Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, or Acharyas. Whatever I spoke, Mataji, it is just what I heard. There is nothing, none of it is my realization. It's just whatever I heard. I just tried to reproduce or repeat what I heard. So thank you very much, Mataji. Please keep me in your prayers and please bless me, Mataji. I know you are very humble, very sincere, very devoted to this process of bhakti and to Shri Shri Radha Krishna. Please bless me, Mataji, so I can get at least a drop of the bhakti that you have. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So I request devotees, do anybody have any other questions? If nobody have any other questions, we can end the call here, Prabhuji.
Just Mataji, Hare Krishna, just one. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the beautiful class. I mean, I enjoyed it very much. And what I really liked about this was not only that you narrated the pastimes, but what is the message or what is the takeaway that we can have with each of the pastimes that you mentioned really stuck to our hearts, Prabhu. And the umbrella that you were talking about, very, very nice. We are attached to so many things that the material world has to offer. And all that has to go away one by one. And that is definitely the deep desire of each and every devotee, so that they can purely serve Radha and Krishna. Brilliant, brilliant lecture. And thank you, Prabhu, for taking your time and helping us educate about Janava Devi. Really indebted to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, yes, Mataji, you can go ahead. Prabhuji, I was just curious to ask one small question. Like you are explaining about the Janvi Mataji's, the two hands appeared like 2 times, right? So when she was serving from Nityananda Prabhu and 1 time for the Veerachandra. So is there any other thing, Prabhuji, or just 2 times?
No, only these 2 are the pastimes that I heard, Mataji. I'm not aware of any other pastimes.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, one other question I have, sorry to interrupt. So my thing is, you said there are 2 versions and one version says this, another version says this. So what are the versions that you were talking about?
So the scriptures that are available, they explain these 2, the pastimes of Jahnava Devi in 2 ways. One of the one of the stories that is explained differently is one where Suryadas, he marries both his daughters to Nityananda Prabhu at once. That is one version of the story. And another version is where first Vasudha Devi gets married and then Jahnava Devi gets married. So this was the second version.
Yes, Prabhu, I understood the versions. I was just wondering what are the different versions that, I mean, which 2 contradict, which 2 references contradict?
Mataji, that I am not aware.
Okay, no problem, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome, Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, Thank you so much for your valuable time and association to us. And we all will pay our obeisances. Vansha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Janvi Mata Ji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His
Jai.
Grace Sach Prana Gaur Haridas Prabhu Ji ki jai. Thank you
Jai.
so much, Prabhu
Ananta
Ji.
Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Okay, Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.